Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Retro Warriors episode 519. Woo! As always, I'm your host, Justin Baker, and as always, I'm joined by viable human Chris Saturn.
Hi, Justin.
I punched my lamp when I threw my arms up to say welcome. And I think I might have broke it. I think I broke my lamp just now.
Well, maybe you shouldn't throw your hands up.
No, it's part of it. I can't properly do the intro if I don't physically do the intro. It's an important
I don't remember you
aspect of it.
physically doing things the last time we recorded in person.
So there are many things that I don't do in front of other people because I restrain myself.
Yeah.
But the wonders of internet hangouts
Yeah.
means that I can be as fucking weird as I want, and none of you know. Well, I mean, I take it back. I think you know, but
Yeah,
you
we
don't
do.
see it when it happens.
Right. Yeah, we just don't have immediate evidence of it. We
You
just
can't
assume.
prove it. No, it's. I'm very weird. When we're
Very
recording, I do all
animated.
kinds of weird shit. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Housekeeping. We're doing an after party. Our producer guy is going to be here, so please stay tuned after the ending theme song for "He Who Shall Be Here," and you shall listen to him.
Yeah.
And that'll be good.
He's listening to us right now.
He's gonna, the calls coming from within the house. He's going to talk to us about deforestation. So
I don't think he will, actually.
stay tuned. My week.
Yes, sir.
I got as everyone was getting their Switch 2s,
Mm-hmm.
I got in the mail a new Game Boy Color game.
Is it Switch 2s or Switches 2?
The Switches, I think it's Nintendo's Switches 2.
Okay.
Is I got in this game. I've not played enough of it to really have an opinion on the game itself. But it's called Dragon Hymn, Hymn.
Mm-hmm. I like that it's spelled out in our notes and you still said it
No,
that
there's no
slowly.
N. I spelled it with an N.
Oh.
It's a Dragon Hym, Dragon Hymn.
So you put in the effort to put it in our notes and you still misspelled it?
I still misspelled it. Yeah, no, I spelled
good.
him with an N. But
How
I'd
dare
seen
you.
I'd seen this one because the company Mod Retro that arms dealer owns, they have been publishing some Game Boy Color games, and I was like, man, I'd love to get some new Game Boy Color games, but I'm not giving money to an arms dealer to do it. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
But they're the ones that made that magnesium Game Boy Color with the super accurate screen.
Right, yeah.
And so I was looking, and one of the games called Dragon Hymn, which is a turn-based RPG, looks really good.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that's a bummer. And then I realized that Incubate, which is IN cube and then the numeral 8 all smushed together, was also releasing a special edition of the game. And it came in, and man, it's so cool. I got to unbox a brand new Game Boy Color game. It came with stickers and keychains and a full color manual with like art, like not just screenshots and stuff.
Yeah.
Very exciting. I've only played a little bit of the game. I'm barely past the intro, and it's pretty fun. It's a real fun turn-based RPG.
Nice.
I don't believe it's party-based. I think you remain, just all the screenshots I've seen, you're just your dude. So it feels almost a little Pokemon-esque in that regard. I really, for my money, any non-party turn-based RPG feels that way to me. Just one-on-one combatants, just kind of always...
Yeah, the first Dragon Quest is famously a Pokemon-like.
Yeah, I was going to say, I imagine to you that feels very Dragon Quest-y, but to me, that feels very Pokemon-esque. I think being on Game Boy Color also makes it kind of feel that way.
Yeah.
But really cool game. I think it's, I know they've had a different version. This is the like DX, the color version. And I think on itch you can download the demo of it, and I think they have a previous version that was not in color. But I was just very excited and impressed to be, especially after our episode on Game Boy flashcards and bootlegs and stuff.
Yeah.
To be opening a brand new Game Boy Color game, and the production quality, it did ship straight from the Hong Kong factory, which is cool because I didn't have to wait for a middleman.
Yeah.
And the production quality on the manual and the cart and everything is so high. There's even art on the back of the PCB.
Nice.
The same
picture that.
Yeah, the same way that like Japanese Pokemon crystals have like an art on the back of the PCB. You can see it through the clear game shell.
And everybody was totally aware of what that looks like.
Yeah, of course. The classic back of the Japanese Pokemon Crystal PCB, duh. And it was just so cool. It was such high production value that I'm already kind of like, I should get more of these Incubate games. Like, this is really cool. Like, you know, and it was like, there was the special edition where it was numbered, like hand numbered. Nice. Had a little certificate that came with it. And I think I paid $60 for it shipped, you know, like, it was a little more than MSRP of a lot of Game Boy games at the time, right. But, also inflation, and also came with a bunch of goodies and stuff. So
yeah,
I was just really impressed with all of it. The game so far, the production value, everything. It was really cool. So if anyone's out there looking for like, hey, because I know we had talked in the Discord about all of the Game Boy games on itch. Like itch.io has a huge amount of Game Boy games. Many of them made in what's that Game Boy development software? GB Studio. That's the one. Many of them are GB Studio games. I don't know that this one is, but still, really cool. Really cool game. Really cool production. So if you're looking for new Game Boy Color stuff, Incubate is making some pretty cool stuff.
I was looking at the inflation calculator here, and a Game Boy Color game when the system launched after inflation would have been about $59. So
okay, so
about in line.
Pretty on par. Yeah. I'm also still doing music stuff. I think what it is anytime I have a big anxiety-inducing event coming up, I always find some weird thing to obsess over.
Yes, that's true. You do.
Because it keeps me from being anxious about the thing. And I'm out of town all next week. I'm going on vacation, and I don't travel well, and so I've been very anxious about it. And so I had already been kind of playing around with music stuff, making music and sound and music equipment and learning some music. Right. And it's kind of become my thing that I do to sort of escape that anxiety lately. So I've been doing a lot. I was doing like, hey, every day I'm going to do like a half hour of practicing on the piano and learning some music theory. And that was my plan because during the summer I have a little more free time.
Yeah. And
that has turned into an hour and a half to 2 hours every day of like, well, the second I stop doing it, I get anxious. So I'm going to keep doing it. But it's been fun. It's been a really good time. I've been, again, I'm not releasing anything to anyone anywhere. I share it privately. I share it privately to our private group just to like hold myself accountable to progress and the fact that I'm continuing to make things.
It's fair.
But it's been really, really enlightening. It's really cool for anyone that like me has literally no musical background, never played an instrument, never did anything, don't understand music theory, can't read sheet music, can't play an instrument, never grew up around that, didn't know any musicians. Like that's kind of where I was. Go learn like a little bit of music theory because, you know, like most of us, I've been around music my whole life. I enjoy music regularly. I love music. It's been very important to me, and getting to see it in a new light is really cool. Like, even if I wasn't learning to make music or play an instrument or anything, it's just really cool to learn the stuff, you know, the kind of, the math that makes it all work.
Yeah.
And it's just been really enlightening to see that kind of thing differently in a different lens, you know.
It's fair.
But what you been doing, Sam? You been doing
Nothing.
stuff?
What have you been doing?
Oh, just hanging out.
No, I've been playing through Bravely Default on the Switch.
Yes. How is it?
It's good. It's a good port. I'm almost through it at this point. I have gotten through the point that made you give up.
Yeah.
So the end is repetitive. It was in the original as well.
Yeah.
But they have done some things to make it slightly less repetitive in this version, which I appreciate. It still does the fake out, which is I think where you dropped it.
Yes. I think they did the fake out, and then there was like, hey, now there's going to be some repetition for a little while, and I did a bit of it and was like, I'm just not.
It's not even really repetition. It just makes you think it's repetition for a minute.
Yeah, it made me think that, and I was like, I don't want to do that, and then I quit.
Right. So yeah, I'm past that point. I've already gotten the bad end. I'm going for the good end now. It's still good. They tweaked it a little bit to get rid of some of the Street Pass stuff that was in the original, since the Switch doesn't support Street Pass. it's reminded me how much Bravely Default is. It is friendly to people who don't have much free time. It has just a ton of quality of life stuff in there that was especially uncommon for JRPGs at the time. It's become slightly more common.
I was stoked that you could just open the menu and turn off random encounters at any time.
Yeah, they've blocked that option by default now.
What?
Now you can still adjust the encounter rate, but you can only drop it down to 50% of normal. Or raise it up to 150 or 200%. But you can unlock the ability to completely turn it off by doing the mini games. It only takes a couple of minutes of doing them, but is still annoying, especially because the game doesn't tell you that. So I didn't realize that it was there until I was already well past the point where you stopped playing.
Yeah.
And then I suddenly realized that I could turn off the encounters like in the old version.
Yeah.
And felt stupid for having wasted so much time after I was already level 99 for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's still a good game. Still enjoying it. It's nice to revisit. It's one that I've been planning on revisiting for a while anyway, so this just gave me an excuse to do it. Also, I picked up the demo of Wordplay, which was on the Steam Next Fest, which is basically just Balatro by way of Boggle.
Peggy Hill would be thrilled.
Yeah. It's neat. It's fun, but it is still very much just a demo, and the full version is not yet available. So
we're in this awful waiting period of there's dozens of Balatro likes and all of them are early access and not quite there. And I'm like, where is the next one? Give it to me.
Right. So it does feel like it could easily be that next one once it is, complete.
True.
But it's still not quite there. So it is neat to play the demo and it's free. So if you're looking for a miniature version of the itch, it's definitely worth the price at free.
This looks fun. I'm putting this on my wish list. I'm gonna wish list this free game. You said something and it occurred to me. Why doesn't the fucking Switch have Street Pass? Street Pass was awesome.
Yeah, right.
And tons of people are carrying Switches around with them. It is a portable. I very often have mine in my car or whatever.
Yeah, that was one of the neat features in Bravely Default, also in the Dragon Quest games, all supported Street Pass. Even the DS Dragon Quest games, before it was built into the system, supported Street Pass.
Honestly, just the 3DS operating system in general, with no game installed at all, was so whimsical and fun and had so much cool shit to do.
I spent so much time in Street Pass Me Plaza.
Oh, man. And it just reminds me how bare bones the Switch is by default.
And the Switch 2 is literally identical to how bare bones the Switch is.
It makes me sad. 3DS was definitely the high point for Nintendo UI design.
No, Wii U is right there.
It's not quite 3DS level for me. I would call it a close second, a very close second. But 3DS just had so much more stuff to do, especially after the updates, and they added all the cool Street Pass stuff and all the games you could play. I remember... I think they charged for them because they had the games where you do the gardening mini game and stuff, and I think they were $2.
Yeah, you had to pay to expand the Street Pass Me Plaza. The basic version was free, but for all the advanced games, you had to pay for it.
Yeah, but even then, the fact that they existed at all was just cool.
I never touched the gardening one at all.
Oh, I loved the gardening one. The gardening one was fun. But I was also in college straight through 3DS, so I would get a dozen Street Passes a day, which was really cool. I didn't have to park outside of school and wait for kids to walk by with their 3DSs or whatever.
I didn't do that. I would go to Starbucks or McDonald's because they had the spot passes that would guarantee give you a handful of Street Passes.
Yeah. Anyway, let's do the news.
Okay.
First up, Switch 2 stuff. Switch 2 is still imminently out and imminently unavailable currently. Last I checked anyway. Yeah. I think we're also kind of waiting on the next wave of hardware, or I don't know if they're doing a trickle or what the word is.
I didn't put it in the news, but apparently there was at least one Target that, because they were out of Switch 2s and were looking for something to put there, happened to put out some brand new unused stock of 32 gig Wii U's.
What?
Yeah, they just happened to have some white Wii U's sitting around. Or no, it was the 8 gig Wii U, sorry. And they just put them on the shelf for $99. And so a handful of people bought brand new Wii U systems for $99.
I wonder how much old collectible hardware is sitting in new old stock piles in the distribution system, just in places.
Yeah.
You know, I always wonder that.
Right.
Anyway, Switch 2 news. We got it all clumped together. Estimated 3.5 million units sold at release, which is extremely strong on the sales front.
Highest or fastest selling console of all time at this point.
A basic frame buffer graphics demo for Switch 2 was released by modders within 24 hours of the console's launch, which makes sense. From what we can tell, a lot of it is the same.
Yeah, but it's a lot more locked down than the original Switch.
Yeah,
was.
I think we all anticipated that they would put up as many roadblocks as they could. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's still a Switch.
Yeah, it's similar NVIDIA hardware.
And iFixit has given the Switch 2 an even lower repairability score than the original, which is just a bummer. I don't think anyone was expecting it to be anything except a bunch of glue and Y-wing screws and everything else, but it's still sad to see. I've only had to do a couple Switch repairs myself. Joy-Cons are beyond my capabilities, but I've done some batteries and shells and kickstands and stuff. And I believe they also said that by all accounts, the sticks will also drift. There's nothing in them to indicate that they're resistant or different in any way that would not be prone to drifting.
Yeah, that seems to be the case.
Yeah, which is still kind of standard for all three companies, even their high-end expensive controllers, as far as I know. So that's fucking nice.
But 8BitDo's already updated firmware for several of their controllers to work on the Switch 2.
So. I did see that, so that's nice.
Yep.
So Switch continues to do well. Like I said, right now we're just kind of sitting around waiting for it to exit. I consider like launch to be beta test phase.
Right.
Where it's like, not all the updates are there. There's not a lot of stock. You can't get certain things. There's not a ton of games. And then, like, I'm curious to see what market sentiment is going to look like when it is. Because I think no matter what, even if this was a travesty of a system, and by all accounts it's not, this was going to be an extremely strong seller just because it says Nintendo Switch on the box.
Yeah, I am curious to see how third-party support goes, because we're already seeing some reports saying that third-party games are not selling quite as well as they did on the original Switch. That said, this one has a ton of backwards compatibility with old Switch games, and the old one didn't. So if people wanted to play games, they had to buy something, and so you would see lesser games sell at much higher rates. Now, people have games already that they can play on it, so we're not seeing... That
curious to see is holiday 2025.
Right.
Presuming that stock is replenished.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see unit sales of Switch 1 versus Switch 2. Really curious to see that because I suspect the original Switch is going to continue to be a strong seller.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's half the price.
Yeah, it's half the price. And for a lot of people, it's like, hey, my kid just wants to play Animal Crossing or Pokemon, and I can save
something. Yeah,
like if it like I have a 9-year-old, and if I was like, hey, you can get a Switch 2 in 1 game, or you can get a Switch 1 in 4 games, she'd be like, Switch 1. I don't totally that. So I'm curious to see what the holidays look like.
I'm also curious how long Nintendo allows the original Switch to remain on the market if it does start
if it is
eating the sales. Right.
But that was my thing is like. I think if they yank the Switch 1 to push Switch 2 sales, it's a dumpster fire. Yeah. I think if they let them both sit there and exist and they can somehow assuage the fears of shareholders, which is always the real concern,
right?
Then I think it could be a real home run, but I don't know. It's a 2-pillar system, Saturn. They've got 2 pillars.
Yeah, we used to have 3 pillars, but we merged some of them.
The AIM light gun, which is
I hate the name so much.
'AIM 'E. Get it? You aim. It's a gun.
I hate it so much.
I hate it. I instantly also hate it.
Yeah.
For modern TVs, is launching on Kickstarter soon. Includes licensed copies of Time Crisis, Point Blank, and Steel Gunner 1 and 2. So it does seem legit. You know, we've seen some other light gun things happen in recent years. But this is definitely something new to pay
There's
attention
also
to.
a higher priced model that comes with a foot pedal for Time Crisis.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
I really desperately hope they fix the fucking name. That's a disaster of a name.
Yeah, that's the worst fucking name.
I
think they want it to be pronounced game.
I can't imagine any. It's so stupid.
All of it is dumb.
Not much retro news at Summer Games Fest. It is currently going on. There was a new Wu-Tang game announced. I don't think that was on
Summer Game Fest ended last week.
Oh yeah, it did, didn't it? This whole week's been a blur for me. Previously, Japanese exclusive PS1 game Milano's Odd Job Collection is coming to modern platforms. So that'll be cool. Milano is one of my favorite type of Pepperidge Farm cookies.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you get to see what kind of jobs those cookies
interested
have.
to see what kind of job Mint Milano cookies are getting up to.
Right.
Microsoft and Asus announced the ROG Xbox Ally and ROG Xbox Ally X, which, what a fucking mouthful, first of all.
I believe they call it ROG now.
Oh, no, they don't. It's an acronym. It stands for Republic of Gamers. Do
which
people
is
not
also
know this?
stupid.
Oh,
No,
it's equally stupid.
It's still printed on there. It still says Republic of Gamers on the device, but I believe they call it ROG.
Fuck off. Everyone fuck off.
Yeah.
It's good old games. It's Republic of Gamers. Quit doing this to us. You don't, no. You don't get to gentrify your fucking names of shit. You named it. You gotta stick with it. You dug the hole. Now get in it. This is really cool for me. What I'm excited about is because I was watching a little bit of stuff about the version of Windows that's on these handhelds.
Yes, that's
and
the
while
part
I'm not
that's
thrilled about,
me.
while I'm not thrilled about Windows at all,
Mhm.
I think because what they're saying is it's a special version of Windows that doesn't run all of the fancy, the desktop backend.
Yeah.
Which means that it will run more efficiently than regular Windows on the same hardware, which is pretty cool. And it also sort of opens the door to maybe future Xbox hardware that is really an x86 PC backend, but they've also made compatibility layers for Xbox 360, Xbox One, and Series X games on it. Like that, the doors it opens is cool. I don't know that they're going to execute on it, but the doors it opens is cool. So
hardware-wise, it looks pretty neat too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean. Again, I'm not all in on the Xbox ecosystem, but for someone that is, seems like pretty solid handheld hardware, totally.
And the higher end one, the Ally X, has Thunderbolt connection on it, so you could even upgrade its video card.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
fun.
So, I mean, it's not portable anymore at that point if you've got a Thunderbolt RTX 5090 plugged in there, but you could theoretically spend $2,000 to plug a 5090 into it.
It's always been kind of insane to me that they haven't released first-party Microsoft-branded computers that are Xbox compatible.
My guess is that it's they don't want to alienate all of their third-party PC manufacturing friends, but
that makes
but that didn't stop them from making the Surface. So
true,
who knows?
But also, like, the Xbox has always really just been an x86 PC on the back end.
Right? Yeah,
that's kind of
custom.
From the first one, that's always been their bag. Like that's the thing. Like it would be so easy to do, and they just don't. If
the 360 wasn't.
That's true. 360 was the weird with the weird
PC.
architecture shit. Yeah, it was Power PC. But I don't know. I hope that's the way Microsoft pivots into the future instead of doing this all in on streaming thing. Which really, I think that's where they're going to go because it's lower overhead, it's less hardware, it's less stuff, it's more agile, and it makes probably more money.
Margin.
Yeah. But anyway, final thing at Summer Games Fest, Persona 4 Remaster announced at Xbox Showcase. Someone in our Discord said they really will do anything except make Persona 6. I didn't know that Persona 4 needed a remaster. It doesn't, I mean, having played a good chunk of it in the last couple of years, like I don't...
I think they're remaking it in the Persona 5 engine like they did with Persona 3.
Persona 5 doesn't look that... It's just weird to me. I'm for Persona fans, I'm sure you're excited. I'm excited for you, but I just don't. What
was weird to me was between that and Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake, there were more JRPGs announced at Microsoft's show than there were at Sony's show.
You did mention that, yeah. Weird
just
shift.
Strange to me.
Maybe this is the late era Microsoft, classic Xbox pivot like they did with the 360,
like they've done with every console. They try to pivot to Japan, it fails, and then they pivot right back. So
we'll see.
Could be
that
part of the cycle.
Anyway, moving on, reports claim that an Atari 2600 managed to beat ChatGPT at chess, and while I think it's very funny to say this, and that's silly and ha,
right.
ChatGPT is a large language model. That's like saying that an Atari 2600 beat Minesweeper at chess. Like, it's not built to do that.
Right.
But it is fun to dunk on AI, so I'll allow it.
Yes, it is. Right.
I will allow it.
And also, the Atari 2600 was explicitly programmed to play chess via its chess game cartridge, and ChatGPT was not. I just kind of had to guess the rules based on what it's stolen from the internet.
Yeah. It's it was a fun headline, a little bit silly, but still a fun headline. I enjoyed it.
Little self congratulatory headline.
Neverwinter Nights 2 is getting an enhanced edition. I am very excited about this. Neverwinter Nights 2 is kind of a pain in the ass to get going these days, so I'm glad to see this. I've already got it wishlisted on GOG. Pardon me, good old games. I hope
to call you out on that.
And so I'm excited to see that. Yeah. Zelda movie has been delayed. They said by a couple of months to May 7th, 2027. Kind of people were talking about how weird it was that they so early announced a specific release date, and I agree that was weird. I could see more delays on this.
I think it was weird to announce such a specific release date so far out, and then equally weird to then delay it by exactly 2 months this far out. But apparently the date that it's moving to was going to be a release date for an Avengers movie that has also gotten delayed. So maybe they're like, oh, we're taking that date now.
Yeah, we'll take the Avengers slot. Everyone's already asked it off work 2 years in the future, so we'll slot right in there.
Right.
I don't know. We'll see what happens with the Zelda movie.
I'm trepidatiously curious about it.
I think it's going to be middle of the road, B tier, standard Hollywood stuff. I think it's going to be like the Minecraft movie where it's like, everyone wanted it to bomb. I wanted it to bomb. We wanted to laugh at it, and then it came out and like, it's actually an okay comedy fantasy romp. I expect kind of the same, honestly.
Oh, I forgot to put it in my notes for what I did this week, but I finally watched the Mario movie.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, what? I didn't know you hadn't seen it. What'd you think?
Yeah, that was good. It was all right.
Standard B- action fantasy comedy romp.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty solid. It did hit me in the feels many times. Just by hitting me in the nostalgia feels.
Yeah.
But as far as the actual like script and all that stuff, it was all right. It's pretty solid.
I remember I really liked the voice cast. My only complaint was Seth Rogen. I don't dislike Seth Rogen, but he was a weird match for Donkey Kong. He was the only one
he was
like,
fine.
He was the only one. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
I was a little more weirded out by Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong.
Oh yeah, I forgot Fred Armisen was Cranky Kong, wasn't he?
Yeah, because he just kind of did a generic Fred Armisen voice.
Yeah,
and that's
true.
That didn't do it for me. I did appreciate that they gave Charles Martinet a couple of bits in there.
Yeah,
whenever I'm playing 6 Degrees with friends, I can now go through Charles Martinet from that movie into the game where he played Michael Douglas's father for some reason. So that's a useful link.
I was pretty impressed with Jack Black. I thought
he did fine as Bowser. Yeah.
I thought Charlie Day was a good Luigi. Chris Pratt was Chris Pratt.
He played Chris Pratt as Mario.
Yeah, it just wasn't thrilling, but it was inoffensive. I think that's why he keeps getting work. He's just so inoffensive that you're like, I guess let Chris Pratt do it. No one can be upset about that.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's cool.
Yeah.
We were in the middle of news. That's what was
happening. We were talking about the Zelda movie, so
Microsoft's upcoming first-party Xbox titles will be code in a box on Xbox while being shipped on a disc for PS5. I'm feeling a little happy that I picked up a PS5 because I think I'm going to be done buying Xbox games because I don't want to buy a code in a box or a game key card or any. I want to buy a game.
I think Microsoft's reasoning, their pivot, is they're trying to focus more on the combo purchase PC and Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't really do that on a disc because computers don't have disk drives.
Well, you could just release a version that's a code for PC and then it includes a disc for Xbox.
But then somebody could just sell their Xbox copy and keep their PC copy.
Right, that's how human beings work. We can sell. Stop taking our. Oh my God.
No, if you're getting a perpetual license for something, they don't want to give you something you can sell as well. You get one or the other.
I'm sitting around waiting on a version of the new Doom game to either be on a DRM free marketplace or be on a fucking disc.
Yeah, give it a year and they'll release it on GOG. That's your option.
Yep. I guess that's what I'm waiting on. To be fair, GOG has been really expanding to a lot of stuff. A lot of big name games are getting DRM free releases on it, so I'm really glad to see that.
Down with that.
Because GOG is kind of the best of both worlds. I don't got to clutter up all my shelves with a bunch of shit and plastic and junk, but I get to own the fucking thing. And I can save the installers, do whatever I want with them, put them on discs, put them on hard drives. It's nice.
I don't remember if I had mentioned it on the show, but I saw somebody online who took a bunch of old N-Gage cases and turned them into GOG game cases and just put SD cards in there with their
I think you
GOG
did,
games.
and I kind of love that, but also the whole point of GOG is I don't got to have shit on a shelf, like... Anyway... we're gonna get through the news. It's gonna happen.
Nope.
Retroid announced a dual screen add-on for several of their devices, which I think is an awesome idea.
Yeah.
Because then you don't have to pay an arm and a leg for a weird dual screen device to play a DS game occasionally. I want this, more of this, please. This is great. Yeah. Konami and Bloober Team announced a remake of Silent Hill 1.
Yes. So excited. So excited.
And the Silent Hill 2 movie is coming early next year. Saturn, it's the Silent Hill Renaissance.
It's weird. They did this in 2012 as well, where they released like a bunch of Silent Hill things all at once. The difference is in 2012, they were mostly shit. And then the series died for a decade and change.
Yeah.
And now suddenly it is coming back, and I'm cautiously optimistic about the Silent Hill 1 remake because they did a really good job with Silent Hill 2 remake. There's a few scenes in Silent Hill 1 that still to this day just absolutely devastate me emotionally, and I want to see if they can pull it off with modern graphics. I am very, very excited.
As a non-horror person, the idea of you being like, I so want to be emotionally devastated it would be like if someone was like, yeah, I'm really into just getting the shit kicked out of me real hard. Yeah, just kick me in the nards as hard as you can. I really need to feel it.
Well, this Silent Hill, in addition to being scary, is also just really depressing in a lot of the games. They're just very emotionally sad.
I don't want
games.
this.
Sometimes I want to watch a drama that is just very sad.
I think what it is I'm emotionally devastated regularly. So maybe I just don't need it, right?
Yeah, there's a sequence with there's a nurse, Lisa, that you meet in the first Silent Hill, and there's a sequence with her that is just one of the most depressing things in any media I've ever seen, and I want to see if they can pull it off. I gotta see it.
And finally, the mobile Suikoden game, Suikoden Star Leap, is getting an English release on Steam, so that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. It is a mobile cash grabby looking game, so I'm a little worried about it.
Yeah, the hope is that they'll do what some people sometimes do, which is turn it into an actual game when they port it, but they might also
it's Konami.
Move the fuck over. It's Konami, so it's 50-50. Yeah. Well, really, it's 33. You might get the game, might get the mobile game, or you might get a goat branded as Suikoden, and they sell it.
I'm expecting just the mobile game because it's listed as free on Steam.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah. Speaking of games that got free mobile ports, China got a release of Final Fantasy XIV this week.
Oh.
And it is free to play on mobile.
Okay.
And graphically, it looks pretty close to Final Fantasy XIV. Like, it looks close to the same game.
You take out some particle effects, and mobile phones will hold their own in some real deal AAA gaming these days. So, especially a lot of the Chinese models, like they got some crazy ass phones.
Oh yeah.
If you're not watching like what Huawei's doing and stuff over in the Chinese market, they got some insane shit.
They're knocking it out. The interface looks cramped. I don't know that I could play a full on MMO on a cell phone myself. But good on them for getting a game finally 15 years later.
Which brings us to our topic at hand.
Yes.
Which is the 3D Atari remakes.
Yes, I am so stoked for this.
Turning those old blocky graphics into old blocky polygons.
Yes.
For scope, these games aren't solely games from Atari, but they are games from the Atari era.
And they're all published by Atari, or at least Atari's rights owner at the time.
Yeah. This is specifically looking at the weird remakes and reboots of Atari-era games that Hasbro, Infogrames, and Atari released between 1997 and 2002.
Yes.
We can't really play through all these, and it's difficult to even try to play some of these on modern machines.
True.
So, Saturn, I believe you've played all of them at some point in time.
I have at least briefly played all of them at some point. I have all of them installed on VM right now because I own more of these than I'm willing to admit. And so I did at least try to boot them up, and I was able to get them all to launch at least. And I can speak to them.
And despite the poor quality of all of these are some of the earlier examples of nostalgia-fueled retro gaming cash-ins. Mm-hmm. This kind of like retro revival period that I feel the Wii era, the 06 to 09 year range, or really like 06 to 2012 really kicked off.
Oh, this was way before that.
Yeah, no, I'm saying this predates that.
Yeah.
Like this is an earlier, it's like a proto version of like, hey, how do we take all of our old games and re-release these?
If the Wii era was the retro cash grab era for the NES and later generations, this was the retro cash grab era for the late 70s Atari era stuff.
Yeah, timeline wise, it kind of lines up, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it kind of works out that way,
right?
Anyway, first encounters, I had the version of Centipede from this collection on PC. And we got, it was just a jewel case game. It just said Centipede. I didn't know Centipede was an old arcade game. We didn't have Centipede when I was a kid. I'd never seen Centipede.
Weird.
We didn't have an Atari. I never even saw an Atari till I was 18, 19 years old.
That's bizarre to me.
Someone was like, yeah, I've got this old Atari. Like, I knew of it. I knew that the Atari existed.
Well, that's something. That's better than your experience with Sega in the era.
Yeah. And so I knew it was out there, but I didn't know anything about it. I just thought it was a PC game called Centipede. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I also had the Game Boy Color version of Pong from this selection, and I still have it. I rebought it last month.
How is it?
It's the same.
It's Pongy?
It's the same as it was Pongy. Yeah, we'll talk more about that in a minute.
Yep.
I think I paid $5 for it.
That's what I would pay for one of these, yeah.
But yeah, they got some playtime for me. They never felt spectacular.
No.
They were just kind of like, back before we had cell phones to stare at and doom scroll every waking moment, that we had any kind of mental lull or the semblance of an emotion starting up, and we could just dull the pain with this bottomless pit of
nightmare,
anxiety and nightmares. Yeah. When you'd be like, all right, well, I'm done playing. I like that game I was playing, but I kind of had my fill of it. But I got like 45 minutes till dinner, so
yeah. I guess I'll play Centipede.
I guess I'll play fucking Centipede. And then you play it, and you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna touch that again for 6 months.
Yep.
And you don't really know why you did it. You feel the same as you do when you scroll social media for 4 hours. You feel the same emptiness inside.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just jewel case games on the shelf. It was filler content. It was junk. Right. What about you?
So I recognized these as exactly what they were when they came out. I was like, that's cheap shovelware. That is trying to get me to spend money based on my nostalgia. But I do have nostalgia, and it has an Atari logo. So I have $20 in my pocket, and I can buy 3 of these for that. So I guess I better. And so I bought more of these than I should have, and I still own many of these. Not all of them, though. I did have to find and acquire some of these, and they're not easy to find and acquire. Probably because nobody thinks back favorably on them. But
you don't. You said you wanted to cover these, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot those fucking exist because nobody talks about them.
No, nobody talks about it. There's one of these that people talk about, and we'll get it out of the way first.
All right.
But yeah, it's not a memorable set of things, which is kind of why I wanted to cover it, just because it's this forgotten era of misplaced nostalgia.
I think it's also a weirdly non-cohesive group of games that doesn't help.
Yeah, that also does not help.
Like if they were really released like all on the same platform as like a collection, and it's like, like the same way that like M2 did the PS2 collections, where it's like, here's the next volume, maybe it'd be a little more well remembered. But this is kind of like, it just feels like a random smattering of shit that they threw at us through a screen door, and they're like, "Hey, go, here's some shit." Like,
and as I was looking up all this, I kept thinking like, I didn't even know some of these existed. I didn't know some of these were published by the same company as part of this same cash grab. It's just a really mixed mash of shit.
Give us some background on how these came to be before we get into the individual titles.
Sure. So, following the failure of the Lynx and the Jaguar, Atari's owner, Jack Tramiel, wanted out of the video game business. So the Atari brand and its IP was sold to a hard drive manufacturer, JT Storage.
Remembered hard drive manufacturer, JT Storage.
Yeah, and JTS also didn't want anything to do with video games or Atari. They
were in the storage game.
Yeah. Well, they just wanted some of the rights from the Atari ST, which had hard drives in it, I guess.
Why would they want it?
I don't know. They wanted some part of the Atari ST manufacturing business, but they did not want the video game. So they sold Atari, the brand, the IP, and everything to Hasbro in '98.
Which is the year before they went bankrupt. I looked it up.
Yeah. And of course, Hasbro, well known for respecting every IP they have ever acquired.
I gotta tell you, in my personal world, Hasbro is my own personal Sauron and has been for many years.
They are the villains in many of your hobbies.
Yes, they constantly crop up, and the second I think I get away, they're like, "We bought that too," and I'm like, "No, Hasbro."
So Hasbro buys Atari in '98, and the year prior, Hasbro had licensed the Frogger brand from Konami to make a 3D remake reboot of Frogger for some fucking reason. And the success of
because
Frogger...
it's the early 2000s, and Hasbro's just trying to do
this is the 90s.
Anything.
This is still the 90s.
It's the late 90s.
Yeah.
It's still
the mid-90s.
era they're trying to do. All right, well, maybe it's different to Hasbro then. But.
Yeah. So they had bought the rights to Frogger. Frogger was an unexpected success for Hasbro. And so Hasbro then immediately buys out the rights to Atari and just starts pumping out as many of these cash grab reboots as they could. And then, not satisfied with Frogger and the Atari library, they also licensed some neglected properties from Namco and Sony, and they also licensed Tetris, and they just start pumping out this dumb shit. Their license with Namco gave them the rights to make games based on Pac-Man, Galaxian, Galaga, Pole Position, Mappy, and Bosconian, and Dig Dug, as well as other unspecified titles. Most of these never actually came to fruition, but they still paid for it. Namco retained Japanese publishing rights to anything that came from this, but then after seeing them, they didn't bother to actually publish any of them in Japan.
They're like, nah, you keep it.
Yeah.
We're good.
Despite some successes in this group, Hasbro got scared away after the dot-com bubble burst and decided they wanted completely out of the video game business. So they sold all of their video game assets to Infogrames in 2000. Despite, doing some things with some of the other things that they acquired from Hasbro, Infogrames stopped publishing any of these on console or handhelds after they bought out Hasbro's video game business. They were like, we see what you're doing. We'll let this kind of continue on PC where there's higher profit margins, but we're not going to put in the effort to publish any of these on console or handheld. That's not worth our time.
Yeah.
And then Infogrames finally, they let this continue for a year or two, and then they just abandoned the rest and decided to focus on their more lucrative titles like Neverwinter Nights and Unreal Tournament and Enter the Matrix. And
I love that you picked these three games.
Yep.
Yeah, Neverwinter Nights, UTO3, and Enter the Matrix.
Yeah, just really had to show where Infogrames was at that point.
They went out for lunch, dinner, and dog shit. Those three things that go together.
That's 2003 Infogrames right there.
Really, the early aughts were kind of this... It was the CD jewel case golden age.
Yeah.
Right? CD media had gotten so stupid cheap that every store had jewel case CD-ROM games. Yep. And
did not matter if they even sold computers or software. They had a rack of PC CD-ROM.
Computers and Windows and DirectX and everything had gotten simple enough that really anyone could plug in a jewel case CD-ROM game and play a game.
Yeah.
It
wouldn't be a good game.
No, but everything it had just barely coalesced into like, hey, PC gaming kind of isn't like really hard to do anymore.
Right. And also there'd been 5, 6, 7 years at this point of 1001 shareware collections that had proven that people would buy literally anything if it was under
Absolutely.
$20.
There was a lot, because this, for me, the early aughts were like my early teenage years. So I have a lot of weird CD-ROM jewel case video game memories of
Yeah.
games that I cannot fucking find or identify to this day.
It
One of
may
them,
not have ever even been completed.
one of them was a God. It was I want to say you were Odysseus,
Okay.
and you were like traveling, through Greek antiquity, but maybe Atlantis was there. And it was like a puzzle solving Myst type thing, but it was fixed camera angles and it was
Yeah.
third person.
That's very Myst-like.
And I played it all the
I-
fucking time.
I really wanted to just make up a name and say it was that, just to see if
I would have
believe
been
me.
like, yeah, totally. I have no idea. One day I'm gonna find it and we're gonna do a show over it, and because I gotta.
If anybody knows what it is, write in. Or join the Discord and tell us.
Yeah, please tell us. Anyway, let's get into the games.
Yes.
So I would, some of these I have played, some of these have not. I'll mention the ones I have played. This first one, I believe, is considered the best one. I did not play it.
This is the only success of the lot, I would say. The only one that was generally well received and sold very well, which is Frogger. Released in 97 on PC and PlayStation 1, developed by Sony Computer Entertainment Europe.
Thanks,
which I never realized until I was researching this. It was developed by PlayStation's Europe branch, which I think was former Psygnosis. And it was under license by Konami, obviously. It was relatively close to the original game in scope, but includes a lot more variety in its level design. Critics weren't super impressed with it. It got a lot of 5s and 6s, but it sold exceptionally well. It reached over 6 million units sold by 2001.
Was it budget priced or something?
No, it was full price when it came out. Well, it was like
full
30 or 40.
Price Frogger, and
yeah,
I can't fathom why this sold so well.
Yeah, it sold, and I know a lot of people who bought it too. That bought it excitedly as well. They were like, "Oh man, I loved a Frogger game on PS1."
I guess this is just how starved we were for older video games,
for nostalgia.
Yeah, I guess so.
And also, you have to remember, 97. This was, if I remember right, it was released a couple months before Final Fantasy VII on PS1.
So a lot of new PS1 owners.
Yeah.
Also, for shit to buy.
We were still pretty enamored by polygons in general. They were a new thing, and this was a proven gameplay format that had worked, 20 years earlier. So they were taking.
I could also see that the PS1. The PS1 library is so massive, but I could see people being like, I kind of just want some regular arcade style games, because a lot of PS1 stuff was like, no, we're doing cinematic.
Exactly.
We're telling a story now. It's no longer just a frog crossing traffic. And I could see people being like, but can I also have the frog crossing traffic? Or can we do both? I guess I could see it.
Yeah, that's my thought as well. It's just, it was simplicity, but still had the fancy polygonal graphics of the PS1.
Yeah.
And it just something about that plus the nostalgia hit. Over half of the 6 million units sold were on PS1, and the rest of them were on PC. It did lead to a sequel, Frogger 2 Swampy's Revenge, which is, of course, not related to Parker Brothers' 1984 game Frogger 2 3 Deep or Konami's 2008 game Frogger 2.
Who is Swampy?
He was the villain in PS1 Frogger.
The villain is the cars.
Well, there were more levels. You weren't just on the highway. You were also in the jungle and in the forest, and you had different levels of Froggers.
I see. And there was a Dick Dastardly type in the Frogger universe.
The mean frog Swampy.
All right.
Maybe he was after that attractive lady Pink Frog.
I get
and Swampy's Revenge, I think, also ended up on Dreamcast and N64.
Weird.
Anyway, also Majesco and Tiger sub-licensed the name and cover art for more faithful ports of the original game on Super NES, Genesis, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Gamecom. The Super NES and Genesis versions notably were the last ever games published for those consoles.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't notice that.
Published in 98 on Super NES and Genesis.
Good old Majesco.
Yeah.
Porting it to the very end.
Yeah.
Let's do Centipede.
Okay. Yeah.
This
You
one
know
I
this
have
one?
played. I do know this one. This one was PC, PS1, Dreamcast, developed by Leaping Lizard. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
It's like you play the centipede ship.
Yep.
But it's this kind of overhead, tilted down.
Yeah. It's kind of quasi overhead.
It's like the Gears of War camera angle, but for centipede.
Yeah.
And there's a fucking story.
Yeah.
And there's
a
these
quote
weird
storyline.
There's little guys that you save in the village, and you pick them up, and they go, "Oh, thanks, buddy." And it's the weirdest. I can't fucking get a handle on this. Like, you go through, you shoot the centipede, and there's the mushrooms and stuff, and things change colors or whatever. But then after a minute, you open up a new area, and you go to a different area, and you shoot the centipede for a while.
Yeah.
And then you open up a new area, and then you leave the level, and it's like, you did it.
Yeah.
And it's just... One... It's
never feels
imprecise.
like it goes anywhere.
It never goes anywhere. It's imprecise. It's just too much. It's too much for the idea. The idea, they didn't change the idea at all.
Right. Yeah, the concept's still the same.
They just wanted to, like, 90s big budget blockbuster movie it, and you're like, this doesn't work for Centipede.
Right. Yeah.
It's not going to happen, Centipede.
You know how when old TV shows were turned into movies, they were all made like super serious and super dark and had much bigger budgets. This feels like if old TV shows were remade into direct to VHS movies.
It's bad. What it looks like, I don't know. It's tough because I said it's bad. It's not bad. It's just not interesting.
Yeah, it's bland.
It's bland. It's kind of boring. There's just not a lot going on.
Yeah.
It looks like the video game that you would see in any sitcom where they had to have a video game. Yeah, but obviously they couldn't use Mario or Sonic or Pac-Man or whatever.
They couldn't use a real video game, so somebody just had to make a knockoff real quick.
Right. This looks like that. This is that video game.
Could you imagine being a kid who got a Dreamcast at launch and the only game you got was Centipede?
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's an insane game. I will say, as a jewel case game that you're only going to play for 5 minutes, that's okay.
Yeah. What about as a full price Dreamcast game?
Excuse you? No.
Yeah.
No. It's about 10 minutes worth of game wrapped up into way too much production. It is the very
proud of
definition
itself.
of hubris.
Yeah.
If hubris had a picture in the dictionary, it would be Centipede on PS1 and PC. Right. Tell us about this next one, because I did get to play this one, and I was also disappointed.
Yes. So then we have the next Tetris, which was released in '99 for PC and PS1. It was developed by Blue Planet Software, who developed a lot of the Tetris games in Japan. And I don't know if this one really fits in with the rest of these, but Hasbro still stuck an Atari logo on it, so I guess it does.
Yeah, I mean it meets our criteria for the show.
Yeah, it's Tetris. I never cared for this version of Tetris, especially because it came out the same year as the new Tetris on N64, which is a good version of Tetris. Mm-hmm. And this on PS1 was a bad version of Tetris.
So the thing is, they're like, well, the next portion of the title means they have a version of Tetris where the tetraminos are split and they have gravity, so they will slide down.
Yeah, I don't like them.
Which just makes the game a lot easier. It fills in more gaps.
Right.
Like, it's just Tetris, but made dramatically easier and not even on. But you can just continue playing regular Tetris, and occasionally blocks will fill in their own gaps, and you're like, oh, good, I guess. Yeah. There's no additional complexity involved.
If anything, it takes away the complexity.
Yeah, you're just like, you can kind of just slam blocks and they'll sort of slide down to the bottom like a sad ice cream dripping off of an ice cream cone, and you're like, good, I guess. Yeah. Thanks, Tetraminos. Right. It's what it is it's the kind of idea to reinvent Tetris that someone would come up with in a boardroom as they're trying to figure out how to sell more Tetrises.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes later, someone goes, oh, well, that wouldn't really work because just adding gravity would make it easier.
We already made it.
Because the hard part is getting all the blocks down into the holes to fill the gaps.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess never mind. Let's throw this idea out because it's a dumb one.
Done. We did it. And it
it's
didn't
not
help
bad. It's just not interesting.
Right. And it didn't help that it was released at the same time as the new Tetris, which is an interesting take on Tetris. So,
Yeah. I wasn't trying to take turns with these because you wrote all these notes, but I do want to do Pong the next level.
Okay.
This was on PC, PS1, and Game Boy Color. To tell you the level of technical requirements that Pong the next level required.
Are you telling me that Pong is not an advanced high-end game?
Developed by Supersonic? It's just Pong. But you can pick levels that have stuff. Like there's an ice level and there's penguins.
There are penguins
in it. And or what is it that Benedict Cumberbatch says? Pingwings. there's pingwings in it.
Yeah.
And the pingwings bounce your ball at a weird angle.
Right.
That's it.
And also the camera's at a weird angle, except for on the Game Boy version. Which,
the Game Boy version is straight on, so that's nice.
It's traditional Pong angle.
I mean, I played it again. It'd be like I'm in a car and I'm like, I'm tired of playing Pokemon. What else do I have? All right, I got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 on Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
And I've got Pong. I'll play Pong for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, if you like Pong,
10 minutes is a lot of Pong.
That's true. That's true. If you like Pong, it's Pong.
Yeah.
It doesn't substantially add to any Pong anything. I do want to mention, this is a total tangent, but I was just thinking about Tony Hawk on Game Boy. I got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater on Game Boy Advance. Someone sent it to me.
Yeah.
It's the most ridiculous mobile port I've ever seen.
Yeah?
It's a fully 3D rendered. Like, they faithfully recreated Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 on Game Boy Advance, but with polygons that the Game Boy Advance is capable of.
Are they pre-rendered polygons?
No.
Oh, no.
And I need you to play it. This is a total tangent. It was so bad, I took it to Andrew's house and was like, you have to play this. And he was like, what the fuck is this? And the music is just farty MIDI versions of the actual soundtrack.
Perfect.
It's insane.
That sounds great.
This is kind of like that, where you're like, it's that again, just on a Game Boy, I guess. And I mean, again, for Pong, it's an upgrade to Pong. Huge upgrade.
Yeah, which isn't saying much.
It's not saying much. No. You could put a racing strap on Pong and it would be an upgrade.
Right.
It does have regular Pong.
Yes.
So if you want to have the worst, the difficulty is it is the best Pong.
Which isn't no. The best Pong is that one that they have in arcades now that has an actual like 3D ball and paddles, but is still controlled electronically as if it were digital Pong.
All right, I'll give you that one.
The best
it's
Pong.
The best video game Pong because that one technically is not a video game.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's still controlled like a video game.
It's an amusement game.
Yeah, that's true.
So Pong the Next Level still maintains the crown of, I think it's the only one on this list that is the best version of its respective game.
Probably, yeah.
I think none of the rest of these are like, it's just that again, but it's the best version of that game. So.
Yeah, all the rest of them are that again, but possibly worse.
Yeah. All right, we got 1 million to cover. We got to carry on. Carry on.
All right. So then Missile Command is PS1, PC, Game Boy Color, and it is Missile Command. It's not great.
I have 2 things to say because I played this one.
Okay.
I hate Missile Command in all its forms.
Well, it's a difficult game. It is a stress-inducing game.
It is. It's stress-inducing and not in a fun way.
Yeah.
Because of the inaccuracy, you have to like properly time the trajectory of stuff.
Yeah.
I just can't. Oh God.
Like
something about in a video game, once I commit to an action, I need to know immediately, did my action succeed or not? And it does this thing where, and I know that the people that love Missile Command, this is why they love it, is that they commit to an action and then they commit to 3 or 4 other actions, and then they see if their first committal was successful or not.
Right. And if you need to overcorrect or anything.
Yeah, and for people that love Missile Command, that's what they like about it. Rapid fire decision making and not knowing if they were good or bad decisions until you've made other decisions. I get that. I hate that. That is
I want a Missile Command with the rewind.
Oh man, that'd be fun. That'd also be pretty easy, but it'd be fun. Actually, it might not be fun. I think it'd just be tedious. But this version of Missile Command is worse than regular Missile Command.
What if you could rewind your attacks, but not the enemy attacks?
I don't know. I'd rather just have infinite missiles and just spam everything.
Yeah.
Every time I play Missile Command, I fire every missile I have, and then I run out instantly.
And then
That's
you just
always
watch
what
yourself
happens.
die.
Yeah, you're like, I guess I'm stupid. What's next? What do we got next? This one I couldn't play.
Next we got Cubert.
It wanted me to plug in a second player controller before it would boot up the PS1 game, and I was like, I don't have
weird.
That. It was very strange.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it to work.
So yeah, it was on PS1, Dreamcast, Game Boy Color. Did you know that the rights to Cubert are owned by Sony Pictures?
Didn't Sony Pictures put out the Pixels movie?
They did, yes.
Because Cubert was a prominent character in the Pixels movie.
That would explain it. They didn't have to pay for him.
Yeah, and I remember being like, of all the fucking characters, Cubert?
Yeah. Well, he is owned by Sony Pictures for some reason. Not by PlayStation, but Sony Pictures.
So if you ever want to see Cubert hanging out with Adam Sandler, that happens in that movie a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
he was also in Wreck-It Ralph.
He was in Wreck-It Ralph, wasn't he? Yeah. I forgot about that.
Anyway, so the original Cubert was already isometric. So the only new thing they really bring to the table is weird boards and worse camera angles.
Yeah.
They do add some gimmicks in some later levels, but like they're not good gimmicks.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of like more awkward, worse Cubert.
Yeah. More awkward and worse is the definition of a lot of these.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I was going to say our next one, I think we covered on our Galaga episode.
We did mention it, yes.
And I think I'm thinking of the N64 Galaga.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember, like, I didn't love it, but I was like, it was okay. It was interesting. I don't know that I've played Destination Earth. I thought I had.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure now.
It's not made by Namco, and Namco doesn't acknowledge it.
I see.
Makes sense. So it is Galaga. It's the full title Destination Earth is on PS1, PC, Game Boy Color, and it's similar to Galaga, but you got polygonal graphics, and there's a first-person wave and a side-scrolling wave, and then it goes back to regular Galaga.
All right.
And there's a power-up that lets you have a tractor beam so that you can capture enemy ships instead of them capturing your ship.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's it. Then it's Galaga.
You did it.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Right.
This is another one I tried to play and I couldn't get the PS1. I guess I got bad disc images or something. But Breakout.
Yeah.
Breakout on PC and PS1, Supersonic Software.
I do want to note that this is a game called Breakout, released in 2000, but it is not Breakout 2000. That is a different game released many years earlier.
Before the year 2000.
Yes.
In anticipation of the year 2000.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Breakout. I'm on record as saying that Arkanoid is the superior version of Breakout, the same way that Super Mario Brothers is the superior version of Mario Brothers. So why would I play Mario Brothers?
Yeah, but Mario Brothers is a very different game than Super Mario Brothers. Arkanoid is an advanced version of Breakout.
Yeah, I still don't want to play Breakout or Mario Brothers. Just pass. I
don't mind.
Pass for me.
I don't mind Breakout, but it does feel too simplistic compared to Arkanoid. So I don't know why I would want to play it when I can play Arkanoid. And this is just Breakout, but with worse camera angles.
Yeah, adding camera angle. Why? Like I can see. It was
the early Polygon era. Everything had to be over the shoulder.
They're like, all right, yeah, we with Centipede we made it work, but then a lot of these it's like you just tilted the camera a little bit. You didn't really fucking do anything. It's not better. It's just uglier.
This is how you see it's 3D, Justin.
This concludes the PS1, the console ports. All the rest of these were PC only, right? That's everything else on our list is PC only?
Yep.
And it's a lot of Pac-Man shit.
Yes.
So I guess
they got the rights to Pac-Man, and they wanted to exploit it.
I got to be honest. Has Pac-Man ever been as big as it was during Miss Pac-Man?
No.
I feel like they've been trying to...
peak was the early 80s, yeah.
It's like they've been trying to recapture the Pac-Man magic for 45 years now.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, let it go, man.
I love Pac-Man.
I know you do, and I don't get it. I don't get it.
You're allowed to be wrong. I love Pac-Man, but anything they've made in recent years has just kind of been chasing
Yeah. Oh, you
it
know
was.
what? Pac-Man Tournament Edition.
The tournament edition was great.
Yeah, that was
edition.
Champion Edition. That's it. That was peak Pac-Man. That
Yeah,
was peak Pac-Man.
That's
better than original Pac-Man. I'll take that all day long.
That's fair. So yeah, just real quick, all of them. You had Pac-Man Adventures in Time, Miss Pac-Man Quest for the Golden Maze, and Pac-Man All Stars. None of these are good. They're all just basically Pac-Man.
Okay.
And just with worse graphics and weird angles. Pac-Man All Stars was really just a multiplayer mode that was in the other two that they expanded into its own disc. I think it was eventually sold on its own, but it was previously released in a 3-pack with the other two.
Yeah.
But they're all kind of bad. They're just not real great.
Sad times.
Yeah.
What about our old pal Dig Dug?
Poor Dig Dug. He is also involved in this. Dig Dug Deeper, which sounds like a porn name.
It does, doesn't it?
It was released in 2001. It looks bad. It looks like a bad game. It has underground areas like in standard Dig Dug. It has above ground areas like in Dig Dug 2, but they all play bad and they control bad, and it just looks and feels bad. It's a bad game.
Yeah.
And it was reviewed bad, so it all adds up.
It's all everything's coming up Millhouse. What else do we have? We got Combat.
Combat.
They did a Combat, so
yeah, the remake of the tank mode from Combat.
Fucking pack-in game.
So if you didn't own an Atari 2600 back in the day, Combat was the game that came with the Atari 2600, and it wasn't just tanks. If you hit the game select, there was also a planes mode and a helicopters mode, and there's all.
But you only ever see the tank mode
game.
depicted. That's all you ever see anywhere.
And they were all basically the same game with marginally different controls.
Right.
But there was different, theming at least, so you could see all the different aspects of combat. You had combat, air combat, and other air combat. That's all of combat and all of history.
Yeah. You're just missing water combat.
No, that doesn't exist. It's not on the cartridge.
Right. No one ever fights on the water.
No, just like nobody ever fights outside of tanks.
See, there you go. Why? I'm just saying, if I had a tank, I'd never fight anyone not in my tank.
Right.
Just putting it out there.
But anyway, this is just tank combat. So it just takes the tank version from original Combat, and that's pretty much it. You have some objectives they added in. There's exits to the levels for some reason. But other than that, it's all real basic. It's just Combat, but with polygons, released in 2001, 24 years after Combat, but with less features.
And for money this time.
Yeah, and for more money. And then the last one is Warlords, which
I have a special place in my heart for Warlords because when I took game design in college, I made a Warlords clone.
Nice.
That was the game I made. It was pretty fun.
Well, Warlords is one of my favorite classic Atari games.
Yeah.
And for the record, this is Atari Warlords, not that other Warlords that would go on to spawn Warlords Battle Cry and Puzzle Quest and all that stuff. That's a different game, also called Warlords Unrelated. But no, it's a classic Atari 1980 Warlords. It's pretty faithful. It's pretty close. Didn't seem to get many reviews. I've got a copy of this, and it's fine. It did at the time feature an online mode, which would have been neat for Warlords, but I'd never met another human being that owned it, so it didn't matter. I think this just released after people were already burnt out by this trend and acknowledged that all of these were shovelware. So even if it was above average, no one would have noticed or cared. But it's okay. Warlords controls all right with a mouse. So it was fine.
Yeah, I can see that. That works.
Yeah.
And what's this last one here? What is this? Is this just a pack-in?
Just a
multi-pack?
A multi-pack. This is how I bought Warlords, was Atari Revival, which was just a combo pack that they sold of Missile Command, Combat, and Warlords all in a single box. It's just one box that says Atari Revival, but when you open it up, it's the 3 individual discs and 3 individual manuals. So they were clearly just getting rid of old stock. But it's fine. It's one good game and also Missile Command and Combat in one box.
I suspect that this is the most anyone has talked about this selection of games since
Ever.
probably 2003.
I think this is the most anyone has ever talked about these games outside of a Hasbro boardroom.
I don't know. Judging by, I've played some of these. I don't know that they talked about them very long either. They're like, oh no, Centipede, but it's dumber. Okay, next game. Dig Dug, but it's deeper. Next game, what do we got? Okay, Missile Command, but it still sucks. Cool, next game. I think that's how the process went.
Have any of these sold as well as Frogger? Fuck it, keep going.
No, okay, Frogger 2. Someone wants revenge. Swampy, Swamp Ass is revenge.
Swamp Ass revenge. I've had Swamp Ass revenge before. It's not pleasant.
I want to say these range from like, okay, this is kind of getting in final thoughts, but these kind of range from okay time wasters to garbage.
Yeah.
Definitely an era of Atari better left forgotten. But also, if you want to remember Atari well, and you're one of those people, because I struggle with anything of the pre-NES era. I have no nostalgia for it, and some of these are so simplistic, it's tough. But the Atari 50 Anniversary Collection is on like everything.
Yes.
And has 2 giant DLC packs of a bunch more games. And that's the way to celebrate the Atari. If you want to celebrate Atari, that's the place to do it.
And they released a complete physical of that with the DLCs on PS5 and I think Switch as well.
Yeah, it goes on sale a lot. I mean, I've got it in my library. I think I talked about it a couple months ago when I bought it. Like, it's got some cool stuff in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I got the Xbox port, which is not getting a complete physical.
No, because it's on the Xbox. Yeah. And apparently fuck the Xbox, I guess. Yeah. I'm glad that Atari was given its due as far as at least good collections to remember and celebrate these games, because these are not those. Yeah, these are let's slap makeup on this pig and see what happens. Like there's
a really weird trajectory for Atari, because they had their real early peak in the late 70s and arguably into the early 80s. And then they had a real deep trough with the Atari ST and the Lynx and the Jaguar. And then they were sold a bunch of times. And eventually this is Hasbro like trying to pick them up, but not willing to put any time, money, or effort into it.
Yeah.
And that kind of failed. And then Infogrames bought them. And then they tried to bring the name back a little bit more by actually, putting some money and effort into it. But then they ran out of money or effort. And so now it's finally trying to like give Atari some respect in the modern era, just not with any budget. So, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the respect.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm okay with?
Our producer guy being here.
Our producer guy is going to be here, so stay tuned after the ending theme. But I'm also okay with our Patreon.
Oh, that's okay. I'm okay with that.
/Retro Warriors. And if you want to be okay with it too, then you can. I can't.
Yeah, we won't stop you.
We won't. We couldn't stop you anyway.
Legally, we could try to, but we won't.
We could try. Yeah. We could send out cease and desist letters. But we're not gonna do that. We're nice.
Yeah, we like you appreciating it.
And we want to thank the following patrons for their kind donations, starting with Adam Klugowitz
and Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious,
Burger Champ,
Blackened,
Brian Guido Hassin,
Chris R,
Craig Cargill,
Mayo Man X,
Joystick Cowboy,
and Epic Da Vinci.
All gave us money, and those are all their legal names. Please don't look into any of these claims.
No, it's all legal.
Yeah, so that's you can get all sorts of cool stuff there. There's Talking Wizards, there's Relong, there's exclusive access to our Talking Wizards channel.
Read along, which we forgot to record this month, but we're gonna record it. Don't worry about it.
It's gonna get recorded before it's supposed to come out. They would have never known that we fucked it up, Saturn.
They can feel it.
Giving a peek
First
behind
of all,
the curtain.
We schedule it in the Discord so that people can listen to it live, and they saw that it was scheduled and then didn't happen. So they knew.
Yeah, nobody even said anything.
No one said a word to us.
Nobody was like, "Hey, read along is scheduled. Are y'all gonna do that?"
Nope.
Yeah, it's apparently not.
No, we all forgot. We collected.
It's a whole ass show that we all collectively were just like, we're gonna do. Oh, I guess not. Never mind. There's time. We got time.
We got it. We got this.
Anyway, stay tuned again after the ending theme. Guy's going to be here to talk to us about polar bears.
And middies.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week. And as always, let us cling together. Hi, welcome to the after party with our producer, Guy.
Hi, Guy.
Hi, Guy. Hi. I punched my lamp again. It's tilting very badly.
Stop doing that.
Yeah,
I was welcoming Guy, and I gestured broadly to my lamp, and I smacked it.
Well, that was a mistake, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I've done it.
How does your lamp feel about that?
It feels nothing. Yeah. So
How does your hand feel about it?
It's okay. It wasn't that bad, actually.
Right.
My hand was fine. Hi, Guy.
Hi.
Are you old man that remembers the Atari 2600 because you're so old?
Sure.
Listen to this child.
Sure.
I'm gonna be 43 in like a week.
Oh my God,
I'll be 43 in a few months.
Oh, what's it like being so close to the end, you guys?
It's fine.
First off, it's not that close to the end, but thank you.
It's over halfway for me.
I feel like our whole generation has kind of shifted. Like 30s feels like the new 20s and 40s feels like the new 30s, you know? So I think it'll be fine. And a lot less of a smoke, so maybe we'll actually, last 10 years longer statistically, and it'll all kind of even out, you know?
I'll believe it when I see it.
To Saturn's, I suppose, point of feeling older or whatnot. Sorry, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, you're halfway done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you think about it, like this is how I think about it anyway. Yeah, I feel like I'm probably halfway done, but at the same time, half of that was getting to 20, and that part sucked. So, it's gonna be okay. If you're a third of the way done of your adult life, right?
Right. Yeah. And this half I have a lot more control over, whereas that first half, for several years of it, I was barely conscious. Certainly not cognizant of the world around me. And then for another part of that chunk, I was not in control of anything because I had to listen to adults, and adults are stupid.
Kind of feels like the first 2.5 decades you're earning this time.
Yeah.
Like you're paying your dues to enjoy this era all the way through to hopefully the end,
Just like you spend so many years working so that you can retire, which is definitely a thing we'll get to do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
Sure. It's, they talk, I watch a lot of, like workout stuff. And people like nutritionists and things talk a lot about not lifespan but health span, which is like, you're alive because being alive is cool, but if you're like chronically unhealthy, it's kind of not worth it. And so they talk a lot about health span, and like our generation, our health span is going to be longer because we statistically live a little better than the previous generation, which is what you always want. You always want the next generation to live a little better than the previous one did. We'll see if that holds out in the long term. The world's a crazy place. There's a lot of shit happening.
Are you saying that I might live longer than my parents because I wasn't eating Arby's twice a week?
I think not eating Arby's twice a week, not smoking a pack a day for 40 years, not drinking as much. I mean, we statistically do a lot less of this stuff, generationally, and so I think it's gonna be interesting to see. I think it'll be because like in my head. I saw someone talking about this the other day. They were like, there was some picture of someone, and they were like 65 or something, and everybody's like, oh my God, they don't look 65. And they were like, well, yeah, because they didn't smoke for 5 decades every day, a pack a day, and thought it was healthy for them. Like, it changes a lot,
Well, that's the Virginia Slims are the cigarettes that doctors recommend.
Like when I was a kid, I feel like old people, like 70 plus, looked way older than they do now. And I used to think it was just, kid brain. When you're a kid, like when someone's 30 and you're like, you're a million. It's like, but I think it really is like we just don't, old people don't.
There's also people who are born old, like Wilford Brimley.
That's true. Wilford Brimley came out with a mustache and bald and talking about his diabetes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know what might cut our life short?
Huh.
Deforestation.
Oh! He
I
brought
thought
it
you were going
back.
to say, everything. But
I've been
that's
told
also
that
true.
the algae in the ocean provides more oxygen than the trees do.
Yeah, but all that oxygen's trapped in the ocean.
Oh, yeah. Well, these fucking fish are stealing it. They need to
Yeah.
breathe it out. They need to all come to the surface and breathe it out into the atmosphere for us.
Just have them breathe underwater and then exhale up here.
What? Okay, I don't. Fish aren't plants, y'all.
No, they
What?
can do it. They choose not to. It's a choice they make.
They still breathe out CO2. They take the water out, or the oxygen out of the water.
I've met some vegetarians that eat fish, so therefore fish are plants.
Oh, yeah. That's fair. I think they call them pescatarians.
Not they're vegetarians. They said so.
Wow, I don't even know how to respond to that. and keep to our no politics rule. Like, wow, okay.
Have you guys been seeing all this shit? It's not really political, but have you guys been seeing all this shit coming out about the new studies they're finding out about how much pain and torment fish feel as they're getting caught?
Yeah. They're like in excruciating pain for at least like 30 seconds or 5 minutes.
I would imagine so. They've got that fucking hook jabbed.
Yeah,
into
it
their
came
face.
out, and I was like, "Did you think they liked it?
Right?
What did you think they felt? I mean,
they don't have nerves in their mouth. You know that."
I don't know.
They're being tugged by this sharp hook. What did you?
Well, they're also taken out and laid there to suffocate for a little while, and then maybe dunked back in water, maybe, and then
they don't have nerves in their lungs either. Like they don't.
If they're lucky, they get thrown back in after this near-death experience where they're in excruciating pain.
I mean, it just seems not awesome.
It feels like it would be a mercy to them to just go ahead and kill them.
To all the listeners who are yelling at me that fish don't have lungs, fuck off.
Fish lungs.
Yeah, fuck off, listeners. Guy said it here first. Yeah. You heard him.
I just realized that as I said it, I was like,
all of you listeners out there.
That was a dum-dum statement right there.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Guy's our producer.
Like, all I have to do is hit the give money button. So
brought our producer on the show and he told our listeners to fuck off.
They know what they did.
This is why we can't be like a real operation, because we don't.
No, that's not the reason.
Yeah, there's
a lot of reasons, but that ain't it.
It's the only reason. Talking Wizards has primetime radio chops all over it. It could totally be the breakout hit of the season.
Talking Wizards coming to a Clear Channel station near you.
Let's see. We tell people not to fuck off, or no, don't tell people to fuck off, I guess.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Spend money on advertising. Accept endorsements from Dollar Shave Club.
Gross.
I don't know. Buy Facebook. Do we buy a Facebook? Is that a thing?
This is all fucking stupid corpo shit. I'm not doing any of this.
Run some ads for PayPal.
But sure, it's me that messes up your show.
Yep.
I'm gonna throw up.
Yeah. Throw up in his mouth.
Yeah, please do. Like 30 miles or whatever it is. You just projectile vomit through some walls.
Just Linda Blair it for 30 miles straight.
I'm just imagining. I have so many thoughts right now. In my head, I'm like, what would a 30-mile vomit laser beam look like? And I think it would look like the second level in Metal Slug 3 where you turn to a zombie and you can barf a blood laser beam. It would be like that.
What crystal or whatever do you have to vomit through to make it lace?
You remember that scene in UHF where he makes the kid drink from the fire hose?
Yeah.
It sounds like that.
Okay.
I had I kind of like barfed up in my mouth a little bit today. It's the first time that had happened. And like sometimes you like stand up too fast, you're kind of bent over, and like you get a little bile.
No.
What?
No, I don't know that.
You guys don't ever like, or maybe you burp.
Not from standing up too fast. No, I've never had that. No.
Or maybe you burp and it's like a little, you're like, ugh.
That I know. I know that.
Yeah, for sure. That's a normal human thing.
Yeah.
I hadn't had that happen in a long time. And it happened to me today. I was standing up off the toilet and I was like, oh no.
I have noticed that I am getting lightheaded from standing up too fast a lot more lately.
Yeah.
And I think that's an old thing because my doctor was like, "Yeah, you're getting old. That's gonna happen."
Oh.
So,
Oh man,
You got you got that old blood. It moves real
Yep,
slow. It's that
apparently.
old people blood.
she's like, "You're getting older. You're gonna have to start standing up a little more slowly." And I was like, "Oh no, I don't like that."
Yeah, I started
That's
doing that
seconds of my
6 or
day.
7 years ago, and I just assumed it was like some sort of low blood pressure. But I guess it's good to know I'm just old.
Yeah, it's only because she says my blood pressure's great. It's just that I got the old.
That's
Yep.
disconcerting.
Right.
Oh, speaking of old, I got a cardiologist appointment in like a month.
Yeah.
Oh.
I need a
very
cardiologist
old.
now.
Yeah. That's fun.
I don't know if I need one, but it's probably a good idea to see one just in case.
Right.
I mean,
It's a better safe than sorry situation, it sounds
Yeah.
like.
yeah, for sure.
And you've had
Like,
some weird, what was it? You've had like racing heart stuff. So, like, yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's happened twice in like 4 months. So doctor's like, okay, well maybe we'll take this seriously. He also, I say maybe we'll take it seriously. Like it's one of those things. Like I don't know for people who don't regularly go to the doctor, but you go to the doctor, you tell them something's wrong. They're like, well, here, try this thing, and if that doesn't work, then let's start something
Right.
else, right?
Yeah.
Like and so like at first it always anytime I start some sort of new problem, it seems like the doctor doesn't give a shit.
Yep.
Until like the second or third time, and then he's like, "Oh no, that's an actual thing." Okay.
Oh, you
let's
mean
go.
it? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we
get that
we've
from
gotten
doctors,
past
too.
the easy
Yeah.
stuff.
What's funny is the few times in my life I've been sent to a specialist because my doctor was like, I don't know what that is. I'm not sure. Every time without fail, the specialist has been like, fucking fine, go home. I don't fucking like. If your shit was totally busted, you'd know. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I don't know if they're just like being shitty doctors but like. Or they've been like, yeah, that's just gonna be like that for you, and it sucks. Like I had to go to an ENT because my eustachian tubes, they have allergies and they just get like packed full, and it just fucking hurts. It just causes me pain. And I went to an ENT and he was like, yeah, your tubes just do that, so that's gonna hurt you for your whole life. And I was like, oh. And he was like, just try to find a good mixture of whatever over-the-counter allergy medicines you can mix together to see what works. And I was like, did you just recommend that I go to the pharmacy and just buy all the allergy meds and
mixing them up? Yeah,
like I'm making a soda at the movie theater and just see what works. And he's like, yeah, that, or we can put tubes in your ears, but tubes suck. Have a good day. And I'm like, all right, fucking guess, man.
I got my like blood work back from the hospital or whatever, and my potassium was a little low.
Oh, no,
so my doctor my doctor prescribed me a daily banana. I'm like, I got to go get my medical bananas now.
My brother was just prescribed prescription potassium. He has to take the big ass horse pill size.
Oh, he must have real low potassium.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, mine was like barely low.
Yeah, my dad and my brother both had real low potassium. I have not been told as much yet.
I've only know that bananas have potassium because of the movie Honey, I Blew Up the Baby.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, one of the plot points is that a kid has a potassium deficiency and he has to eat a banana.
I remember that, and then suddenly everybody in my class made that joke anytime somebody had a banana. It was, oh, you got a potassium issue, and that stuck in my head.
Off of the third sequel in the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids trilogy.
Wasn't that the second one?
That's the second one.
Oh, is it? Yeah, the third one's Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves.
Yeah.
Because the adults get shrinked. Yeah. So the first one, the kids get shrinked. Second one, they don't explode a baby, despite what the name says. They make a baby large.
Yeah.
Which
They
is what the movie
baby.
Which is what the movie Big should have been about. I think we all agree on that.
No.
That would have been more in line with Tom Hanks's wish. And then the third movie is, I guess we go back to shrinking people. The kids have already been shrinked. I think they should have shrunk the dog. I would have watched that.
Yeah.
A tiny Homeward Bound situation would have been way better.
Homeward Bound, but it's just the backyard.
Yeah, that would have been great. You would have watched it. We would all watched it. We would have loved it. It would have been like, I like the animal one better.
Nah, I mean, at that point, I would have been like in my mid-teens, so probably not.
It's true. I was already kind of burnt out by the second one.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. We weren't babies when the second one came out.
I wasn't a baby. I was old enough to remember it coming out. And being like, they're gonna blow up a baby. And then I watched it and I was like, oh, it just made the baby larger.
How else would they have phrased it?
Well, honey, we enlarged the baby.
We embiggened the baby.
Embiggened. Thank you.
Those aren't words that little kids know.
We made larger the baby.
They're perfectly cromulent words.
At least they didn't call it "Honey, I inflated the baby" because that feels like it has some weird connotation.
I'm just gonna say that they could have didn't have to be the honey we something the something. They could have just
it did.
bitten.
That was their thing.
It couldn't be Honey, We Shrunk the Kids too, because then
Yeah.
I don't know. That would have made as much sense as Honey, We Blew Up the Baby.
Maybe they could have called it Big Baby, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids Part 2.
Oh, I like that. Big Baby. I like that one. That's the winner. Let someone get whoever made these fucking garbage movies. Get someone call Rick Moranis. Get him on the fucking phone.
Oh yeah, he is coming back to movies.
Yeah.
I did hear that. Yeah. I assume he's going to be in Spaceballs too.
Yeah, that's what he's coming back for.
Good for him. I got a lot of respect for him. He just was like, I'm going to go raise my kids and I'm just going to live off the money that I fucking made because I was a movie star for a little while. Went, raised his kids, did it, and then came back and was like, I'm done now. They're adults. They all moved out. They all got their own lives. I'm bored. Can we do movies again? And I'm like, you know what, man? That's
right.
I got a lot of respect for that.
Yeah, they fucking Mel Brooks is going to play Yogurt again and
right. He's like 100 years old.
Yeah.
Isn't he? Yeah, he's like 99 or 100.
Yeah, he's like 99.
Right at it.
Yeah.
He's one of those people that you forget he's still alive.
Right.
And you're like, oh yeah, Mel Brooks is still kicking, isn't he? Is Gene Wilder alive or did he die?
No, he died.
No, he died.
But he was real old too, wasn't he? He got way up there.
He was in his 80s, I think.
I don't know why I remember him also being like crazy old, but I don't know.
Yeah, he was 83 when he passed.
Okay, I mean that's old, but that's not like, oh my gosh, he was how old? That's just kind of like up there.
Yeah.
You know?
To Saturn's point, that's less than double my age.
Yep. Same.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe we'll have robot bodies and we can just endure this for forever.
It'll be great.
Would it?
I don't know.
Great-ish. I mean, you know what? If we can keep playing RPGs every Wednesday night in our robot bodies, it'd be great.
Yeah, I never really bought the whole thing where like every vampire story has the vampire that's like, I'm 10,000 years old and I'm so bored. And I'm like, I play a fucking video game, dude. Like, there's a lot of shit to do.
So much media to consume.
Jesus Christ, dude. Have you watched television? They invented it. It's really cool. There's so much of it to watch.
Yeah. Right, he only knows about technology that existed when he became a vampire.
I'm tired of watching water wheels.
I've read both books.
Both books. We should end the show there. That's you can't top that one.
Yeah, we're not going to top that one. Guy, thanks for producing the show. Thanks for being on the show. I think we'll maybe see more of you next recording sessions.
Heck yeah, y'all.
It'll be fun. Anyway, thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.